Shanika. I'm the financial training manager here with Fifth Third. I've been in banking for about 12 years, and I specialize in helping business customers like yourself grow, develop, and get your business in a space to where you look for expansion. So what I like to do is partner with business owners and kind of get to know what's important to their business, what are some of their goals, what are their strengths, what are their opportunities, and then of course if it's something outside of me or what I specialize in, that's where Jonathan here comes into play, because he goes over business lending as well and kind of get a little bit more in depth with numbers and things of that sort. So today was about the starting of the 5 big mistakes small business owners make. Who would like to give a run or an estimate or guess what are some of the biggest mistakes business owners make?
Undercharging.
Undercharging. Okay.
Proper planning.
Proper planning. Absolutely.
Not enough market research.
Market research. Absolutely. So the very first one that I put is trying to do it all themselves. That is the very first one. And what I mean by trying to do it all themselves is not being able to, one, utilize your resources, reach out to other networks, get together at networking groups, or leverage your connections and contacts to help you grow. So John, you want to kind of talk with us on what that looks like?
Yeah, so obviously networking, but two, I think as we look around, a lot of you individuals you are sole owners, you are the head of it. So I think, you got to manage your time correctly. Your time should be used thinking about growing your business, protecting your risk and your interests. So having the right people around you, right business plan, okay? How are you going to execute your plan? Do you know your industry? What is your competition doing? So a lot of those things are things that you guys should be focused on a strategic view. You all are talented within your field, but that's not going to help you grow, right? That's where your employees come into play. I think that's one of the mistakes that business owners, they get so tied into doing the day-to-day work where you guys are going to outgrow that, right? You guys are going to lead your company into the next tax bracket, next revenue share, next goals. You guys set those goals and you guys execute them. And having strategic hires, employees, and people that you trust and you enjoy working with is really important in accomplishing those goals.
Alright, so for number 2, big mistake the small business owner makes, we have overspending on non-essential items. Overspending on non-essential items. How many of you ever look at your finances and say, oh, I think I spent too much, or we overspent on that, or I didn't prepare for that type of expense? It happens, right? Yeah, that's a real thing. And with Jonathan and the numbers, I always say he's great at it. I'll let you kind of speak on what that looks like as far as overspending, as far as spending too much on inventory, spending in overhead, or things like that.
Just whenever you're purchasing things, I would say think about it for your standpoint. Is this going to make me money, right? And the second thing, is this going to appreciate or depreciate in value? And can it be put on the balance sheet? So when we look at a company, right, a company can make a lot of money on the P&L and still go out of business if your balance sheet isn't right. So your balance sheet is comprised of your assets and your liabilities. If you take out a loan to purchase a piece of equipment, that counts as a liability, but it's also an asset, something that you can lend against, right? Something that's going to help your company boast your balance sheet. So you got to think, if it doesn't make you money or it doesn't bolster your company from a standpoint of, hey, we got tangible net worth. This is a tangible asset that we can lend against, we can sell in the event of something that is needed. Now, if you have inventory, you sell a lot of inventory. Some of you guys don't. I think schools, general contractors, you guys don't have industry or inventory, but you got equipment needs, right? How much do you spend in renting the equipment, and can that be leased out or leased to purchase and help your balance sheet? So those are things that you think about. If you look like, man, we spent $100,000 in renting this equipment for us to complete that contract, we would have been better off buying it for $100,000 and then renting it back out once the project was completed, right? Those are things to consider, especially when you start, paying for things, start using money for, really things that are necessary in your day-to-day. I think marketing would be a great expense for you, okay? What is the return on the investment for marketing? Who are you marketing through? Are you being different from other players in your industry, right? Everybody probably has a Google ad. What is one of those things? How am I differentiating between my business and the next one? So those are things that I would think about whenever you think you're overspending, but just go back and see what is the actual benefit of it. Because it may be worth it. Like, man, I spent a lot of money on that, but I got that one client and it paid for itself. So, that's one thing, just analyze, and again, as the head of your businesses, that's what your time should be used doing, and not as much day to day, especially as you start to grow, because it'll just be overwhelming for you.
So number 3, which is a big one, a big mistake small business owners make, is mixing personal and business finances. Okay.
He was like,
That's major. How many of you use, if someone tries to pay you, they say, oh, I could just Cash App you, or I could just Zelle you, or Venmo, or all those other third-party businesses, right? Y'all are gonna get those depending on your level of business. I would say be very, very mindful of doing that, and if you can, not to do it, okay? Your business finances is your business finances, your personal finances is your personal finances. There should always be a clear line through that. Now, it's gonna be some times where, hey, I'm gonna be honest, you have some business owners that, hey, I couldn't go to the bank to get money, so I had to use my personal funds to start my business, right? That's normal, you're gonna hear that. But what you don't want to do is get in a place of your business where you realize money's going back and forth from your personal checking to business checking, and now you can't prove where you made profit for this month because it's in your personal checking account, and then your personal checking account got transactions from your business. Try to do a great job of keeping those clear ahead, a clear division of that. And the reason you want to keep a clear division again, because you do want to be able to differentiate. Say if you need lending or you want to get grants and things of that sort, those are the top things that banks for sure look at. We're going to pull those accounts and kind of take a look at where money's coming from, where it's going. And a lot of people don't know, you can have them at the same bank. Now, we're not saying that you can't have your business account and your personal account at the same bank, but we do prefer them to be in separate accounts at that bank, if you can. And then I have some, in my experience, some business customers who say, hey, I have my business account here and my personal account there. That works too. Of course, I want to tell you guys to choose Fifth Third, keep everything there. But if for any reason you don't want to keep it at Fifth Third, have one of them here. But you can keep it separate. I always hear the slogan, you don't have all your eggs in one basket, and that's fair. I've had in my experience where some, it works for some, and then some others who say, hey, I'd rather know that my one banker is taking care of my personal and my business because it's easier for them. So you kind of got to do what makes sense for you in that. But it is a big issue that a lot of business owners make. Nobody in here should say they're running a business and do not have a business banker. It is no way you're going to be successful if you do not have a business banker. And that's not me saying or wishing bad on the business. That is me being realistic as a business manager. You cannot successfully run a business if you're not educated on it, if you don't have the financial literacy on what's making sense for your business, as well as knowing how to reach out to those resources, because again, you don't know everything. I don't know everything. When I have a question, I call Jonathan because he's better than me in certain things, in certain parts. So you want to make sure you kind of knowing where you are with your finances, knowing how to separate those business and personal finances. And please, 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 a lot of people make the mistake also. Don't accelerate. Don't only focus on one aspect of your finances. You can't just succeed with just your business and think your personal will follow. You have to make sure your personal finances are in order and your business finances are in order. Both have to leverage each other. You can't be better in one than the other. Because at one point, in one tank, you're going to only have this other one that may need to support the other. Or if your personal start tanking, you realize you're overspending personally and your business is going well, people make the mistake of taking from their business and use it personally, and now their businesses start failing. So make sure that when you're working on your finances, you have a great overall picture across the board on your personal and business finances. Moving on, so number 4, not having a business plan in place. So it is so critical to have a plan in place for all aspects of your business. And some great examples of business plans are online, or again, going to a business bank, you're creating a plan. So when it comes to that business plan, when you originally started, it's not going to necessarily always be the way it go, and that is 100% okay. I think too often we get wrapped up in, I made a plan, and it's kind of like for our life too, right? We create a plan of what we want to do and how we want things to get done, who we're going to see, talk to, date, where we're going to go eat, and then things happen in our life where it kind of transitions our journey. And that's okay. Just as a business owner, that things like that are going to happen. So you may start off with this mindset like, hey, I'm going to do all these things for my business, and then you realize like, hey, I need to make sure I can pay for those recurring expenses that may come up. Or hey, I need to make sure, I'm guessing how many people are going to get inspections this month on my vehicle, or how many homes am I going to be able to lease out or rent out this month, or cars I'm going to be able to change. things are gonna happen, but you wanna make sure ideally you create a plan and try to follow as much as you can. Even if you can't, go back to the drawing board and revise that plan. But you cannot just move forward in your business without a plan on how things are gonna get done, because then you're gonna be driving blindly. And you know what happens when you drive blind, you steer off roads. And then when you steer off roads, now your business start to fall. And now you're going back to like what happened. So create a plan, keep a plan. I encourage all our business clients to look at it quarterly, just to make sure that they're in alignment with their numbers, they're in alignment with their goals, and to make sure they're in a place of where their P&L makes sense. You have a question in regards to the business plan? Because you see that when it comes to lending, when it comes to
I
you
would
guys.
say, statistics is, if you make it through the first 2 years, the odds of you continuing your business and being successful grow significantly. So, I think business plans are gonna change just because you'll wanna grow your business to a certain point, right? Just starting out, it's like, man, I gotta get through this, I gotta thrive, I gotta get the recurring revenue, right? I gotta know what my expenses are, what is my true operating budget. So that should be the first plan, right? First plan is, hey, we gotta survive. And once we survive, then we gotta build a new plan to thrive.
And then the last one we have for you guys, is a kind of little jokey one, but just to put it out there, a big mistake business owners make is, one, not baking with Fifth Third, but aside from not baking with Fifth Third, literally, again, not having a solid relationship with a business banker in a bank. So that's anyone. Wherever you go for your finances, you should know your bank. Bless you. You should know your banker by name. The moment you have a problem or a question about your business and your money, you should be able to call them and say, hey, Ryan, this is what's going on with me. And really for your personal and your business, but especially your business. Because again, that is where your money's gonna come from, that's where the money's gonna grow. When it's time to expand, you want loans and lending and grants and things of that sort, you're gonna need a bank. You're gonna need to have a connection at the bank. So really making sure you establish a solid relationship with your banker.